Hello guys and welcome to all those trainings to become Super Saiyans. This is Revolution. So we are now starting to approach that moment, and that moment I'm referring to is that end of Z moment. At the end of Dragon Ball Z, we saw Goku and the gang pretty much participate 28th World Martial Arts Tournament. We soon learn that Goku has a different motive behind entering this tournament, and that is to meet the reincarnation of the evil Kid Buu, reincarnated as a human, UUB. Now, with the inception of Dragon Ball Super, we are a little unsure on how the timeline is working. We know that it's been quite a few years since the Battle of God Saga, even more so the Buu Saga, but we don't know how far along they are. But we are getting the inkling that they are approaching this end of Z moment. It wouldn't make sense if they weren't. What must be said is the end of Z 28th World Martial Arts Tournament is canon to the Dragon Ball Z manga. So if they were going to skip this moment of Dragon Ball Z history out, it would be a complete retcon from events in the manga. However, there is no need to fear if you want that to stay in place, because there have been interviews where Toyotaro and Toriyama have confirmed that they will be sticking to the end of Z. Now guys, this does not mean that the end of Z is the end of Super. It is most likely going to surpass the end of Z and continue with more arcs in the future. Whichever way you want to cook it, Dragon Ball Super has been a hit for Toei. There is no way they are ditching a successful show anytime soon. But at the end of Z, Goku flies off with UUB and takes him as his student. So therefore any arcs beyond the end of Z will include UUB in them some way somehow. Now obviously when Toriyama initially wrote the end of Z chapter, he had no idea about the events that would occur in Dragon Ball Super. He simply hadn't thought them up yet. Unfortunately, so far there haven't been any major contradictions to the events in the end of Z chapter in Dragon Ball Super. So that leads us to what is going to occur after the end of Z chapter. Now, one continuity from Dragon Ball Z has took a stab at UUB before. Obviously, that continuity was Dragon Ball GT. Now, I'm no Dragon Ball GT hater. In fact, I think it gets more hate than it deserves quite a lot of the time. But one thing it definitely didn't succeed with was creating a good UUB character for us. As a character, UUB has a massive amount of potential, especially to be given over to the audience in an effective manner. But Dragon Ball GT kind of just cast him aside eventually. After a pretty good opening episode where he was training with Goku, they basically cast him aside in favour of Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Now, obviously Super Saiyan 4 Goku was the main character of the show, but it was pretty much the Goku show. His best moment, frankly, came when he came to take on Baby. In my opinion, one of the most underrated villains in all of the Dragon Ball series. But upon facing Baby Vegeta, UUB fused with Mr. Buu and ultimately became Mojube. Now that moment was awesome, but he then went and lost, so the effectiveness of the whole moment kind of just fell apart. However, I must say the Baby Vegeta saga in Dragon Ball GT was a really good saga, and in my humble opinion, if it was in Dragon Ball Super would be the richer for it, because it was a good saga with a great villain. Obviously, in Dragon Ball Super, there have been way too many contradictions for Dragon Ball GT to take place after the end of Z. By all means, in GT, UUB was pretty powerful. He was more powerful than Kid Buu was at the end of the Dragon Ball Z Buu saga. So there's no denying he was strong, but the power scales in Dragon Ball GT pale in comparison to those in Dragon Ball Super. And Dragon Ball Super took part in the time skip between Kid Buu and the World Martial Arts Tournament at the end of Z, whereas Dragon Ball GT took place 10 years after the World Martial Arts Tournament. The strongest version of Goku in GT was Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and he was compared to Super Vegito from the Buu saga, but we already know that Super Saiyan God in Dragon Ball Super surpassed that of Vegito, as Goku stated it wouldn't be enough for them to take Beerus on as Super Vegito. And the feats in Dragon Ball Super are just leagues upon leagues ahead of anything that happened in GT. The characters in Super are simply stronger, but this is where UUB will be learning his trade. Now, Dragon Ball Super has not been shy about handing out power hacks to characters just to get them relatively close to the levels of Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta. But if you're like me and you like the character's power hacks to at least have some grounding behind them, then you'll hope that they go in depth about why UUB has more potential than the likes of Kid Buu. Now, Dragon Ball Super's writing is quite vague at times. We don't exactly have an explanation of how Android 17 acquired such a major power-up. They basically explain Frieza's power-up as basically him being a prodigy, and the explanation for Ultimate Gohan's power hack seems to be that we just didn't know the potential of his potential unlocked ultimate form. However, fortunately for us in this case, there is another version of Buu, Mr. Buu, who got a power increase through training. Now, we'd never seen Buu train, but when Buu got serious and trained for a few hours, he went from being known as Fat Buu to Skinny Buu, even managing to ring out a post-Battle of Gods base Goku. Now, whilst we don't know exactly where his power lies as Skinny Buu, that's still an impressive feat to manage to accomplish because Goku is incredibly powerful post-Battle of Gods. In fact, base Goku post-Battle of Gods would mollywop any version of Buu that we saw in the Buu saga. That includes Buuhan. Now, Kid Buu is basically the purest form of Buu. He has no conscience, he doesn't care about what he destroys, he has no regard for anything or anyone, so it is highly unlikely there was anybody out there who could train Kid Buu to be a martial artist, hence why Goku probably came up with the idea of reincarnating Kid Buu as UUB. UUB has been mentioned twice in Dragon Ball Super now. The first time was in episode 30 when discussing the participants for the God of Destruction tournament between Universe 6 and Universe 7. Goku mentions to Vegeta and Krillin that he had the evil Kid Buu reincarnated as a good Earthling. However, they have to dismiss the idea because UUB had only just been born. Since then, it seems like Goku had forgotten about the reincarnation of Buu until Dende mentioned it in episode 86, the episode where he was going to visit 17's island. Dende mentioned that Goku should train this reincarnation of Kid Buu, and Goku has a flashback to how he said he wanted to fight Kid Buu one-on-one when he's reincarnated one day, but warns him he will be a lot stronger, so he'll need UUB to get a lot stronger to have that one-on-one. Obviously, Goku has definitely got a lot stronger since the Buu saga, so UUB's got a long way to catch up. However, as I discussed earlier, versions of Buu do have the potential to increase their power with training. And when you add on top of that, that in GT, when UUB was training with Goku, he was training with a Goku whose max potential was Super Saiyan 3. However, now he is training with a Goku that not only knows God Ki and has the Super Saiyan Blue transformation, but also knows Ultra Instinct. So if by the end of Z in Dragon Ball Super, Goku has learnt to somewhat master this Ultra Instinct transformation, he could be teaching UUB from a very young age the best time to learn how to accomplish Ultra Instinct himself. Ultra Instinct is not a Saiyan exclusive transformation. Even Earthlings, despite having to be very well trained and having an extremely high potential, should be able to accomplish it as well. And not only that, he could teach UUB at a very early age how to manipulate God Ki. Now, UUB in the end of Z was fighting to basically help his village. He was from a poor background and wanted to win the reward money at the World Martial Arts Tournament to supply that village and help them grow wealthier. He certainly feels a sense of duty, and with the oncoming threats that are constantly happening in Dragon Ball, he may feel as he gets older that he has to go out and seek even more masters in a very similar manner to Goku and keep increasing his strength. So there's no reason why he couldn't end up going to someone like Whis or Beerus one day, who obviously will need to know through Goku. But what I'm trying to say is there are other masters out there that are either equal to Goku, maybe even someone like Vegeta, or even above Goku, like Whis. Going on the assumption that Universe 7 survived this tournament to power and Universe 7 is not erased, you would have to think that Beerus would want to train up as many mortals as he can possibly train in case Zeno ever calls another tournament of power. So when you consider that Dragon Ball Super's incarnation of UUB could potentially learn things like God Ki and Ultra Instinct from a much more powerful Goku, then could even go and train with other masters that are either equal or more powerful than Goku. This is why our preconceptions of UUB after the original end of Z, even in Dragon Ball GT, is going to be far stronger than we imagined. So what I want to know from you guys is, how strong do you think this incarnation of UUB will be? Will he be at God tier level? Let me know in the comment section. If you like my videos, make sure you smash that like button with a big bang attack. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And remember one very important final message. If you stay calm in any vexing situation, you will never, ever become a Super Saiyan. Make sure you click that subscribe button to make sure you get all my latest content straight to your account as soon as it's released. And here are some more videos from my library, which I'm sure you will all enjoy.